Hello, and welcome to another episode of Meet the Manager. I'm joined today by Zootert. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, excited to finally jump on with you. I know we've chatted a little bit, and finally excited to kind of get going. So we'll kick it off with kind of the base questions. I was just joking with you, saying I think everyone knows who you are, but we'll go through the spiel anyways. Can you tell us, who you are, your handle, where you're from, that fun stuff?
Yeah, my name is Max, known as Zoetert on MFL, based in the Netherlands, and been playing MFL for quite a couple of seasons now. I think I joined in zero point 0.7 or zero point 0.8, and been going steadily my way up the leagues since then.
Yeah, you've been around for a long time. This is always one of the things that's most interesting to me is how you found it or kind of your origin story.
I was playing so rare back in the day, and randomly on Twitter I saw someone posting about it and thought looked interesting, asked for their referral link, and got started that way. Don't believe they are playing the game anymore, so um, can't really remember who it is anyway. So,
Yeah,
but
I feel
it's
like
been a fun time since then.
yeah. I think a lot of us have kind of a similar story that once we get in, we're hooked, and all the pieces that make the game great just really continue to bring
Exactly.
us
Yeah.
in and hold us here. Um, but it's interesting. It's such a niche game still, even with the growth. And I always wonder, like, how did we all stumble here? And it seems like so many people came from So Rare, or lots of people came from NBA Top Shot as well. I think that'll be, and I'm sure they're thinking through this, but the next step for growth, if the
Yeah.
plan is more growth, is how do they cast a wider net? Um, It'll be really interesting. I wonder personally if with football.fun coming to NFL, coming to an American sport, I wonder if there will be an opportunity to get more Americans into Web3 gaming and more Americans into football based games like this. It'll be interesting because I feel like fantasy sports in the US, particularly like American football, is
It's
so
huge.
popular.
Yeah, it's such a big market that they can tap into. Just have to
Yeah.
convince them to like football as well,
Yeah.
or the
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
football.
Exactly. Yep. And I think it's interesting. Ron John spoke. I don't think Ron John has a huge background um, with European football, with football. He kind of has an American football, but from listening to him, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but it sounds like he kind of enjoyed the game
Yeah,
of MFL rather than like the European football. And the game's great. There's so many things to enjoy and so many tactics. And I don't think you have to be like a genius and have a ton of background information to kind of get in and enjoy it. So I do wonder if we'll see some growth there. And I'm sure the team has some feelings kind of around like how much growth is too fast and how much growth do they want as they go through being able to balance server load and stuff like that. But it seems like a lot of that stuff has done a lot better. I remember in seasons past we had pack drops and stuff wasn't working right, and then they started having to turn off the marketplace, and it seems like uh, the adaptations to kind of accommodate the growth have gone really well. The team does a really good job, but it's hard if you talk about doubling your user base in a weekend because of
yeah,
the layered boom or the net boom. Like those things take time. The infrastructure is going to take much larger than the user base. But yeah, it'll
and
be
I
fun. I'm
think
excited.
and I think especially if you're trying to appeal to a market that might not be super into the sport, now is the best time to do it, as the game is still in, let's say, a tactical state where it isn't too in depth to be overwhelmed with all of the opportunities you have.
Yep.
And from that point, they can build on further tactics, and people roll into it as soon as they're implemented.
Yeah, yeah. And we were talking before we jumped on. You said you have a Spark team that has basically like no adjustments. It's kind of like base as it comes, and you can run that at the lower levels and have fun, enjoy the game, and the other 90% of the game um, is there to enjoy. So it doesn't have to be too complicated, which can be very inviting for a very large base. So yeah, it'll be interesting.
Yeah, and especially when you're in the lower leagues, sometimes just having a couple of pace demons still works to get up front and score some goals. And if that tactic that works in those leagues, go for it.
Yeah. Yep. And then if there's room to grow, right? You can overperform and get up into higher leagues and really get into it, or you can just enjoy it for a Spark team and watch progression and try and compete for those cups and those titles. And yeah, a lot to enjoy. Um, so pivoting a little bit, what's your favorite real life team? Your favorite sports team?
I'm a Ajax supporter from Amsterdam, so that's my main team that I support all the way. Been
Okay.
quite a bad state recently. Just sacked our manager this week, and today with the caretaker manager, we lost again. So it's been a rough season so far, but let's hope we get a new good manager soon that can turn the tide around.
I feel like speaking from a place of like very little experience, but from kind of from a distance, it has felt like the Dutch league has been Ajax and PSV at the top, fighting for that top spot, and then we have Feyenoord come in and jump in. But for the most part, in my experience, the past couple of years, it feels like the league has been between one or two teams. This year feels a lot more open amongst the league itself. It's
Yeah,
interesting how it's opened up.
it is basically Feyenoord and PSV on top now, fighting it out. But a lot of the smaller teams have been doing really well to get up the table in fourth and fifth place. So there's some exciting stuff going on with them, but it's not so favorable for my team.
Yeah, that's tough when it's not going so well. But how about your MFL season? Are you having better success up the ladder with your
Oh
MFL
yeah,
team?
that's going a lot better, thankfully. I got four teams, and one is in first, two are in second, and the last team is I think fifth or sixth now. I haven't checked today's result yet, but around the place. So in MFL, I'm doing a lot better than Ajax is.
Yeah, nice. Okay, that's good news. Won't hammer too hard on the specifics of the season. I feel like next week will be a whole new story, and we'll be talking about season 10, and it'll change kind of the direction. But one of the
Yeah,
things
but
that I
at
wanted
least the engine is staying the same this season, so we have
yeah,
something to hold on to, and hopefully that the results that have been going my way will continue to do so. So fingers
for sure.
crossed.
Yeah, I do. I want to come back to that a little bit. I think there's a lot to talk about, and I think a lot will end up being unanswered questions until season 10, and we kind of know the answer. But I'll come back to that for sure. Um, the one of the kind of fun things I wanted to talk about is you went on a Euro trip with Palmer and Snake,
Yeah.
and wanted to just kind of talk a little bit about that. I know that that was planned kind of early. I know that everyone was looking forward to it. What was your favorite part of kind of that trip?
It definitely wasn't the football games we went to because in all of the games the home team never scored a goal. So I think we had two nil results and one 3-0 result. So we did see plenty of goals, but we couldn't cheer for the home team a single time. But it's always good to just meet members from the community. I've met Palmer before in Paris as well. And Snake, it was the first time meeting him, but it's always just good to be with people who share interest with and get to know personally to actually see them, yeah, in real life instead of just an avatar on the screen.
Yeah, sure. You guys was it basically like 2 days, one night, and then a second day in the other ones?
Yeah, it was Saturday, Sunday, Monday, so it was
Three, two and a half, three.
yeah 2.5, 3.
Okay. Did you guys have opportunities to grab meals together, grab drinks together? I think Palmer said he doesn't drink much, but did you guys
No,
get the opportunity to kind of go
neither
with it?
Snake and Palmer drink, so it would just be downing pints on my own.
Okay.
But basically every night we just spend it all together. So just went to the game, then grab a bite after, and end up in some bar to watch some more football. So it was a football-filled weekend with lots of laughs.
Yeah. So I'm thinking about this live. I feel like I'm doing math live, which is dumb. But you guys, PM time. The only football that would be going on for you guys would be North America, South America, right? So it'd either be MLS or like Argentina or Brazil. Is that right?
When do you mean?
So like if you guys go to a noon match, right, and then it's a couple hours, and then you guys go to the pub at night. Like the only sports that would be on at the pub at night would be uh, like Western Hemisphere, right? Like South America
Yeah,
football.
yeah. But we were there pretty early because the games we went to were like midday games. So
Yeah.
then we went straight on, and there were a couple evening games at like 8 or 9 p.m. So
Okay.
it was just all European football. We were still watching there.
Gotcha. Yep. Okay. So I'm thinking like uh, U.S. East Coast U.S. Like a lot of the European games come on in the morning, kind of through lunchtime,
Yeah,
and then it's MLS, right? Like if I'm watching a game at night for with dinner, it's MLS. Um, so I guess it's a bit mixed for you guys because I guess you may have some of the later games in Spain or some of the Prem games are still on at
yeah,
seven
exactly. Yeah.
o'clock at later time. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. So still getting good football, still getting good matches. um, I have a buddy that has been watching the MLS, and he'll text me and um, he's like, "What is this?" And I'm like, "That's just MLS, man. Like it's the beauty and it's the good and the bad of the MLS." Um,
Yeah, I remember when I was still playing So Rare, and there was one game I wanted to watch because I had like 2 or 3 players playing there. And for some reason, the game was delayed for an hour and a half because they had some people skydiving onto the field as a pre-match like thing. And I thought, what is going on here?
yeah, yeah, it's MLS. It's, there's good, there's bad, there's ugly. It's part of the charm. Um, Maybe it's not for everybody, but yeah. Uh, were there any other kind of fun stories or noteworthy items from the weekend trip?
No, I think Germany was basically about football. Then we went back for one more game in the Netherlands. We went to Groningen, Sparta, and then we ended the weekend in Amsterdam. And I think I have to say what happened in Amsterdam has to stay in Amsterdam. So
Yeah.
not much we can talk about there.
Yeah, agreed. Is there okay? So I'll say like in Vegas, Las Vegas ran ads throughout the U.S. that said what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Like that was for years they ran ads. Has Amsterdam kind of coined the same thing, kind of officially?
Not officially, but it's an unspoken rule, let's
Yeah,
say. So we had a
yeah.
lot of fun, but we can't talk about it.
Good, good. Keep those secret. Yeah, I have stream appropriate stories, and that falls under not stream
Yeah,
appropriate stories.
exactly.
So, yeah, if you want those stories, you got to be there. That's part of the joy
Yeah,
of moving.
and everyone can come once we do our next trip. So then you
Yeah,
can first-hand experience what happened there.
and you've been warned. There's one rule: we don't talk about what happens in Amsterdam.
Exactly.
So everyone knows. Um, yep. So next meetup, we've had Paris. You were in Paris. Where would you like the next one to be?
Logistically, I would say probably England would be a nice place to go. Just easy to get to, and I think for everyone around Europe it would be easy to get to. But
Sure.
of course, for yourself as well, it would be very nice to see one in America.
Yeah.
Um, and if you can make a nice trip out of it for the European players as well, then
Yeah.
it would be nice. But just with the whole trip and all, you have to stay there for at least a week to have a bit of value out of it. So if they do, I would love to come, but need to know very far in advance to actually book the trips.
Yeah, for sure. I think if there's an official one like a MFL, I don't want to say sponsored, but organized, like an MFL organized one, for sure. A lot of those pieces need to be in place quite early. If I twisted your arm and made you pick one city in the U.S., what would your choice be for U.S. meetup?
I have no clue. It's been ages since I've been to the US as a kid on a holiday, so
Okay.
I don't know what are good central hubs to go to, or where you have like the best life around the city to head to after, and I'm really a novice on to pick
Okay,
a location where it would be good to go. So enlighten me.
fair enough. Fair enough. Yep. There's a couple options, and some people have had opinions. There's quite a few managers around Chicago, which is geographically central. To me, like the thing that makes most sense with such a European heavy crowd is like big airport access. Whether like to me, the most logical options would be like DC, New York, or Atlanta. And I don't think that DC is hosting any games for the World Cup. Um, New York has them in New Jersey, which is just on the other side of the border. They call it New York, but I think that would be something that would be relative as well. Like being able to come over and watch a World Cup game or two, or even just like be in this city where there are games going on. I know it brings quite
Yeah.
a lot of energy and passion, and that makes it so much more fun. I
Yeah,
was lucky enough
even
to
if
be.
you just go to a sports bar, it should be packed everywhere, probably around the country as well. So it
Yeah,
would just be good experience the whole vibe that's going on around the World Cup there.
yeah. You say that there is a very good chance, like where I am in Raleigh. Raleigh doesn't have a huge football following. If you go to a sports bar during the World Cup, that nobody will know. Um, you're going to have to go to either a city that's hosting, or there are certainly sports bars or bars that are known um, for being like football friendly and football inviting. And so, like obviously, those would be huge. When the last World Cup in Qatar was on, we were outside of DC, and I found a bar that was um, hosting the game. I think it was against the Netherlands. It was when we got knocked out. So I think you guys knocked us out.
Yeah, yeah, I remember
And
that one.
I got the misery of watching that, but it was fun. Same kind of thing. The whole bar was obviously American fans, and um, dragged my wife to it and said, "Let's go grab a meal and watch the U.S. lose again." But it was fun. It was enjoyable to kind of have that atmosphere here in the U.S. So cool. Try to make sure I didn't skip anything. Um, so you mentioned having four teams. Talked a little bit about them. Your agency has over 200 players. Was that kind of by design? Did you have kind of a holistic strategy around
to-
that?
Totally wasn't by design. No, I just keep being a DJ on every pack night and grabbing as many as I want, and get too attached to the players, not being able to sell them, and then it just keeps growing and growing every season.
Yep, yep. Have you tried to kind of refine that a little bit and figure out like, okay, I'm going to get loan percentages and then try and build up to a certain direction, or are you just kind of having fun with it?
Just having fun with it. I have stopped buying the lower packs. I did just buy as much as I could every single pack drop, but
Yeah.
now I'm just sticking with hopefully always a rare and an uncommon pack as well, or standard pack,
Yep.
and just keep going from there to hope to get a nice progression beast in there, and hopefully a nice upgrade. But I think I've got enough of the common and limited players now to, because I can't even use them myself, for the loans, and I'm set on it on that side.
Yeah. Yep. That makes sense. Have you gotten friends into the trial club? Have you been able to kind of send those players out to uh, real life friends on trial
No,
clubs?
no, no. I haven't been able to convince anyone to get a trial cup yet. So hopefully in the coming seasons, got a chance there to offload some of the worst guys in my agency.
Yeah. Yep. I had a couple friends that I knew from another friend, and uh, was trying to talk them into it. I'm like, look, I'm having a lot of fun. Try it for free. I'm like, you really don't have uh, like a commitment to it. Like, obviously, set your lineups and be a good steward. But like, if you don't like it, just leave. And you can spend 2 or 3 minutes a day. Like, if you're not really into it, spend 2 or 3 minutes a day, set a lineup, see how it goes, and then jump. And I think they both kind of said like, "Oh, this is fun, but I don't have a ton of time, and if I really want to enjoy it, then I need more time." Um, but it's been fun to kind of get involved. I've sent them some players, and I know they had fun building rosters and kind of going through and setting up tactics and some of that stuff. But I think it does require
Yeah,
a little bit of time.
and who knows, they might revisit it in 2, 3 seasons and fully get into it then.
For sure. Yeah. Yep. Um, that's one of the things that's nice is you can always come back and take what you've learned and go from there. One thing that I think is a little bit more challenging is if you have more experienced players that have larger agencies and have the commitment into the teams, you don't really have an option to like take a season off. Calvinator is a great example, right? Like he probably would love to take
Yeah.
season 9 off, or maybe season 10, probably more realistically. It'd be like, hey, can I just come back in season 11, like without having the player's age or the teams drop down? And there's not a good way to do that, but that's kind of something that's tough. Like if you're feeling some of that drain, where you're feeling like I want to take a little bit of a pause, or you have a life event, then it's a little unforgiving in that space. But yeah, still a lot of fun. I was trying to pull up your agency. You mentioned that you've gotten attached to a lot of players. Have you had a favorite player, or anybody that's been a huge progression beast that you've enjoyed?
I did have a progression beast that went plus 22 or plus 23 over his career. But this season, he seems to have stalled quite rapidly. So I think he might have hit all of that was in him. So he went from a common to an uncommon now. I think he went from somewhere in the 40s to 67, if I'm correct.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull him up now.
Yeah,
I
that's the
think it's
guy.
this guy.
Yeah,
Yep.
so he had a
Not
really
Jude
nice
Gray.
grow from 45 all the way up to 68.
Yeah, and he's up 2 this season, 3 maybe.
Yeah, 3, I believe, the season, and then he just fully stalled there. But all the season before, he usually went plus
Yeah,
7 or plus 8, I believe.
yeah.
So it looks
So
like he has hit his max, unfortunately. But now I'm really hoping for the guy right below him, Farga,
yeah, I saw
centre
that.
back, who is interior Jill now, but in the last seasons he's also shown pretty nice plus fives over the season. So hopefully he can still go to legendary this season or next season and have some fun with him in my own teams.
Go from there. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
That'd be a
he's just
great.
the type of player that kept progressing way too fast. I had him in a team, and then within the first 5 to 10 games, he would already outclass the league and all of the players in the team. So I had to move
Yeah,
on every time and find a new club for him. But he's doing well.
yeah. Those are fun. Would you say that's one of your favorite parts, or are you more like, hey, I want to win the league?
Well, luckily I've been able to do both, so I got the best of both worlds going on for me. But logging in around 11 a.m. it is for me to see all the progression. It's time for a wait for every morning, so that's really what I look forward to every day.
Yeah. Yep. I feel the same way. It's first thing in the morning when I wake up, and hoping for that progression. I know quite a few times here recently towards the end of the season as match XP is kind of capped out. It's been less fruitful. I'm like, man, I'm ready for the season to turn over.
Yeah,
I want those plus points back. But yeah, it's always fun as you can kind of see that team grow. And I'm hoping that I can get some advantage on the league if my team's growing a little faster than everybody else, but never seems to pan out quite so easily. Um, so we alluded to a little bit earlier about keeping the same engine. Is that something that you're having a good season? So maybe a recency bias, but is that an idea that you enjoy, or do you enjoy kind of the turn of the engine and learning the new tactics, the new experience each year?
no, I do feel that often the changes in the engine are too big. That the complete game shifts tactics wise. So I'm happy. I wouldn't mind small changes in the engine to happen, but I think it's good for now to just keep the same engine this season, work on perfecting it, and then slowly roll out changes over the next seasons.
Yep. Okay. So do you think it'll feel? Do you think we'll have any adjustments? Like, do you think we'll have very small minor adjustments, or do you think it will be literally exactly the same?
I think they've said for now that it will stay the exact same,
Yeah.
but I don't know. Maybe things about the match plans are going to change or stuff like that that will impact
Yeah.
your tactical experience of the game. Um,
Okay.
yeah, they make changes like that to still make it feel fresh.
Sure. For sure. And I think um, the way that your league, the way that your group plays and sets things up, will impact experience as well.
Yeah,
Um, I,
very much.
I chatted with Laird. Laird posted on Twitter talking about people talking about the meta, um, and I chatted with him and said, "Well, a lot of times when I'm talking about the meta, I'm specifically talking about the diamond meta in like 12 specific teams or 10 plus 2 specific teams." Um, and that'll be the same whether you're in Stone League 12 or you're in Iron League 14. As we have those promotions, those relegations, and then even teams that stay static may have sales turnover where a new manager comes in. You may have different loan players that have forced into different changes. So, um, yeah, it should still feel vibrant, even though there's no big engine change. Um, and I feel like I can completely see what you're saying, where like, hey, every season feels like too new in terms of a flow of the game perspective. So yeah, it makes perfect sense.
And I think now is also a good season to do it with the trial clubs for the new members who are extending their trial club to not immediately fall into a deep well of having to learn an entire new tactic again. So I think that's also one of the reasons why they chose to do it this season.
I have felt, and I would love to get more opinions, that there is no one thing that feels too strong. We've had seasons in the past where a couple seasons ago, like long shots felt highly
Yeah,
effective. You had to have the right players, but it felt like if you weren't somehow leveraging that tactic or that opportunity of long shots, you were playing at a disadvantage. Last season, the really long passes, so finding a ways to set your guys up to hit those long through balls, felt if you weren't using that, you were setting yourself up at a disadvantage. I haven't felt like there was one line or one thing that I felt like I have to play this or I'm playing at disadvantage this season. To me, in my opinion, this season has felt the best.
the most
And that's
complete of all of the engines, certainly.
sure, sure. So keeping it again this season um, feels very logical. And I've had a good season. You've had a good season. So maybe recency bias is playing into our opinions there. But um, yeah, I like the decision. I'm curious if somebody will find like a key to breaking the meta, right? And somebody finds like, oh, you just do this, and then it's way too good, and then everyone copy and follows. But we've had quite a bit of time. We haven't seen like something
No,
completely dominate and take over.
I think if there was an overpowered meta, it would have been found by now. It usually goes pretty fast that someone picks up on it, and then by the time you know it, everyone does.
Yeah.
So
Yep. For sure.
hopefully it will stay that way all the way through next season as well to just have a balanced engine.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm enjoying it a lot. Um, I do think that I'll miss the preseason grind of trying to figure out what works. But yeah, I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed the season, and I feel like it'll give me a bit of a head start going into next year, where I feel like um, it's working well for me, right? Like I know what I want to do personally. I know what players that I want, and then how to kind of set up around that. Um, and I feel like I can kind of try and follow the same path next season and give it another shot. Um, which will be interesting. If I get promoted with both teams, I'll be playing at a huge power curve disadvantage. But
Yeah,
um,
and they still have to build the new teams and find the players that would fit your winning tactic again. So there's
exactly.
always a challenge in that, and the new grind for the season to get the right players.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. The two um, kind of game modes that we brought in, the Halloween one and then the preseason one with our groups. Oh my gosh, Go
the,
Rush.
the
Sorry,
alliances. Goros,
Alliances.
yeah.
Yeah. Did you have a favorite of the two? Was there like a big favorite, or did you enjoy both of them kind of equally?
I think I preferred Goal Rush because it was ongoing through all out of the day,
Sure. Okay.
and it just kept going and going. And with Rabbit, as soon as the tournament ended, you had to wait until the next day for it to reopen again. I didn't have
Yeah.
any MFL to play any of the paid cups anymore, so I couldn't enter those. So it was just the free rolls I could enter. So I had a lot more of the experience of actually competing and playing in the Goal Rush than I did in to Rabbit play.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Um, and you know, it's interesting. I had MFL that I could have splashed to try and play. I didn't have enough confidence in like myself slash the team. I kept looking and thinking like, well, I'm going to be at a slight disadvantage. Like my team's not going to be as strong as these other teams, and I don't want to lose the MFL. So maybe I would have done fine, but I was afraid to lose, so I stayed with the free rolls, which I thought was awesome. I thought that the animations and all the stuff they put
Yeah,
into it were
it was really well
fantastic.
done.
Yeah, I really liked the kit design as well. That was the one thing I was like, I want to come away with a kit from this, or I'm going to be really frustrated with myself. Um, and I got just far enough one time, and I'm like, thank goodness. It was one of the first ones I entered, and I got far enough through. And I was like, this is easy, and I never got close again. I'm like, I'm so happy I got it that first time. But yeah, I had a blast. I thought both were fantastic. Um, I kind of complained about Goal Rush a couple hours in one of the discords when the when people were playing the defenders, the really low rated
Yeah,
defenders.
the sandbagging the defenders to get a lower rated teams.
Yep, yep. And I kind of figured like when I complained, I was like, everyone's just found a way to like bug abuse, so to speak. I'm like, it's fair for all the teams. Like everyone has the same opportunity, but I was like, this is kind of boring. And then they made a change. They made a fix to it, and then they made several changes. I was really, really, really pleased, and then really enjoyed kind of the community aspect. I know we had so many different um, experiences and pushes. I know that when Dirk was trying to hold on to first, the French group was
Almost
really
got there,
pushing
but
it.
it was so
Yeah,
close in the end. That's really made an amazing tournament.
yeah. I was with Ramble, and so I felt like we were fighting to stay in top five. I was rooting for you guys to win. I feel like I have a lot of friends in your group. I had a really tough decision which group to go for. I think a lot of people did, but when I saw the way it shook out, I was really rooting for you guys, and watching it shake out was kind of a bummer, but it was also kind of like poetic to see that. Uh, feels like the end of a race and that final rush. So it was fantastic, really well done. I know everyone had a good time, so that was fun. Um, so any exciting plans for season 10? We've said, it's going to be the same boring old engine, but any plans or any approaches that you'll have that you're excited about in season 10?
I think the most excited thing no, the thing I'm most excited for is to finally be able to play my legendary players. So
Okay.
moving up to bronze now. Since last season, I was lucky enough to have a couple of my players um, go legendary, and I also packed one guy. So hopefully they can play a part in my team now, and we'll see what they can do in bronze.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Are you going to have enough to fill out your squad, or are you going to have to bring loads in?
I do think that it should be enough. I've got quite a few that are in the high 80s as well, so should
Okay.
be able to fill a decent team and maybe bring in a couple more guys. I think right back is one of my weakest positions, so I might have to bring a guy in there, but I think I should be pretty set for most of the team.
Okay. That'll be fun. Have heavy players. And if anyone's listening and has a right back that you don't have a place for, you know who to go
Hit
to.
me up.
So, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that'll be fun. So I was taking a look at the team, very very close. Um, How long has that team been in Iron? Have you gone up the ranks pretty? I can check. Have you gone up the ranks pretty quickly, or have you kind of been in
Mm,
Iron for a little bit?
no, I think I've been in. I think I've spent 4 or 5 seasons in Iron. Went down once as well. I think I've been in there for
Yeah,
3 seasons now. Spent 2 seasons in Stone, and then before that it was 1 season in Iron. Yeah, I think it's
is
been 4 seasons in total, with a break of 2 seasons in between.
yeah. Has this been your strongest team since you
Yeah,
started?
definitely. Yeah, I've really maximized this team to stack it all the way to be able to finally get out of this league. It's
Yeah,
really been a really strong league over the past couple of seasons. That's I think if you would put six in any other Iron League, they would probably finish in the playoff spots. So it's been a real challenge, and I'm happy that it looks like I'm finally being able to get out there.
so I had a theory. I have not tested it or done any research. This is kind of like a pulled out of a you know what. I think that the leagues with the lower numbers might be a tad bit stronger. So like League 5 might be stronger than like League 64. Um, and I think it's related to power creep. But I've very, very small sample size. I've noticed with a couple of my teams, um, the leagues feel strong if they're lower down. And then I have a team that's in ice that's one of the higher numbers. And I don't feel like that ice league is
Yeah.
as strong as some other ice leagues. And I'm happy to be benefiting, but um, yeah, I wonder if that's the case. I know Jimbo had talked a little bit about the concept around like a gentle reshuffle or some sort of a reshuffle. Um, I think it's a really delicate idea. I think there's a lot of kind of good approach to it, but I think it's also um, kind of a tad delicate to balance that out.
Yeah, the thing is, all of the people in your league by now. You get 2 or 3 new names added every
Yeah,
season, but in the big picture, who you have to watch out for from the start of the season, and who you can rest against. And with a complete reshuffle, that will change things up again. But I think it would also bring a nice freshness to the game to see some new names in there as well.
sure, sure, yep, cool. Okay, so one thing we talked about doing, and hopefully that this is a little bit of fun. I'll try and talk my way through it, but wanted to bring up one of my teams that's in a cup final and just go through like a little bit of tactics, see what your approach is, and see kind of like how you think about um, like approaching the game, attacking the game from like a tactical perspective, if that's okay. Um, so where do you want to start? This is my team. Do you want to start looking kind of at my squad and my setup, or do you want to look at the other team first?
Yeah, let's see what you're running first, and go from there.
Do you want to go to squad or tactics?
Let's look at the squad first.
So I'll tell you what. I don't want to make this too hard. I typically run 4-1-2-2 narrow or wide, and then I can organize by position. I have one right back, one left back. I can set up. I'm stuck in the middle of the table in this group. I'm perfectly happy to set up to like fully go after the cup game. If you look at the MFL balance, the difference between like fourth and seventh is so negligible.
Yeah.
This late in the season, for sure, makes 100% sense to attack the cup. So um, I'm happy to sack the next game and go after the cup, but limited on right back and left back, have quite a few CDMs, center mids. I have one right mid, one left mid. Um, this guy here is a +6, I think, at Cam.
Very
Um,
nice.
so he's played mostly Cam. One of my center mids is a +2 at CDM. He's been my primary CDM. Um, and then have a mixture of strikers. So I've typically been running either the 4-1-2-2 narrow or wide, and then rotating to balance out um, energy and rotations. But that's kind of how I've approached it. And then if you want to look at tactics, So I pivoted to breast fullbacks. But typically, the wide kind of shapes up something like this, and then we can look deeper. And the narrow looks like this.
Yeah.
So we talked. I've looked ahead. The other team is 4-3-3 attacking, very regularly running that, has a very strong setup for that. I would assume that that's what they're running against me. Do you want to look at anything specific, sliders, tactics, or do you want to take a look at his team?
No, I don't think we should look into your team instructions too much and not give your opponent the upper hand there.
It's okay. I can share. And I think it's a kind of a fun experiment for us to talk about it. And I certainly will try and take away our best ideas and strategies, but I'm also open to abandoning them if you're like, just run really wide. And I'm like, nope, I'm running narrow. I'm still going to run my own setup. So, yeah, and I'm not too afraid. I don't think I have anything that's overwhelming. I'll show here, running fairly middle, attacking with fairly reasonable depth and compactness, and pretty gentle, honestly, on strategy here. I like to run a more offensive setup, but still have some balance there. So, no secrets are too great for a Spark team, I don't think. And then you want to take a look at his team?
Yeah, what's his team looking like?
Their team, rather. I don't know this person specifically, but yeah. So
a bit lower rated across the board by the looks of it.
Yeah, it is a Spark League. So I think pretty similar, but yeah, lots of players in the high common, low uncommon, or high limited, low uncommon kind of levels. Very defensive heavy. And then if we look at how they lined up in this game, quite strong. Really strong goalkeeper. Would assume kind of a more defensive set. So seeing this, kind of, where would your brain go? What would you look to look at? Would you look at individual player pace? Would you look at their depth? Where does your brain go?
I was just looking at my own team. So I did play a 4-3 attack today with one of my teams. And I'm just looking what we did there. And that was quite a wide style of play.
Yep.
And I did win my game 3-1, so there is a positive there by the looks of it.
I think, as a general statement, 4-3-3 attack has been a strong formation. And I think part of that is the people that run it, I think, are looking for specific things and then targeting and running into that formation really specifically.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are running really fast swingers, and then they're looking for midfielders that are doing very specific things. I think that's part of the reason, is that it's formation familiarity. Yeah, he's got really fast swingers as an option, and I assume that's probably helping him. So one of the things that I look at is to see if opportunities are like really high pace is coming from one particular side, and then with the 4-1-2 and 2s, trying to make combinations, whether it's the narrow formation holding a center mid back a little bit more defensive or a little bit more balanced, and then doing the same with the a fullback to see if I need to give some extra coverage on that side. So what you said you ran it, what did you find was strong when you set up with it? What was kind of the attacking perspective when you ran it?
Let me quickly check how we did and what we created on the match report.
Yeah, he's got a lot of pace on the left-hand side. Left back, left mid, left wing, left mid. He's got a cam that's really fast. I know that's only one stat, but that seems to be one of the things that
No, but
has the heaviest.
especially in the lower leagues, it is something that is often abused, and
Yeah,
you have to find your way against it to leverage it.
yep, yeah. So
Yeah, by the looks of it, my opponent had quite a slow team, and I played with a lot more short passes and than I did dribbles. I barely made any dribbles the entire game. Just passed through the lines and got to my way to goal that way.
so I'm looking at the heat maps. This has been one of my favorite ads. I really like
Yeah, it's
looking
really
at
good.
how teams set up, particularly in the lower leagues. Teams will run like very reflective tactics. Like the tactics won't change too drastically. Um, from having some conversations, I think at some of the higher leagues, that's something that comes more dynamic, um, where teams know that they're scouting each other and that they will try and be a little bit more unfamiliar. I know Dave SR Monkey has said like one of his best tactics is just being like slightly random. Like he changes things almost for the purpose of changing things to try and prevent other people from hard countering him. And he's like, like we'll find a couple of things that work and just change to be
Yeah.
disruptive. And like it's interesting, but if you know people are scouting against you, that's extremely effective. And I know from the other side, like I've been super frustrated. Teams that change regularly, I'm like, I don't know what I want to do against them because I don't think I know what they're going to do. Um, but this formation actually seems to be fairly narrow for a 4-3-3.
Yeah, and his wingers don't seem to go up the pitch that far, actually. They might be coming in a bit more than they actually go for crosses.
Yeah. So this is in possession. Were you looking in possession or with ball? How were you looking?
With ball, yeah. Yeah, okay,
Um,
so there, yeah, that might
that's
be
the
from
right.
corners there. No, okay, so he does have quite a bit of heat maps there, but there's a lot more through the middle than actually over the wings, I would say.
Yeah, I would have thought that running a 4-3-3 with fast swingers, same thing. I would have thought very wide, um, going out and cutting in, or going out and crossing, creating, using that speed to create. But looking at the heat maps seem to be telling a different story in terms of how he's approaching or setting up in possession. Yeah, the left back who, if it's the same guy, the left back was really fast,
Yeah.
and he seems to be somewhat basic in terms of match setups and position setups. Um, I tend to think, seeing how narrow he's running, I tend to think 4-1-2 and 2 narrow, and then just hope to get my setups right and try and shut down the pace of the wing, or not give him too much freebies or too much opportunity on a wing. Um, Cam seems to have quite a bit of position freedom, so probably need to have a CDM help out for sure. Um, what are your
Yeah,
thoughts? How do you
I
see?
think it's good to have that CDM to basically fill in an extra central defense for an extra central defender role almost. If it's by the looks of it, his players don't go too far wide anyway and try to cut in or find a pass from a bit more of from the middle of the field, then with that extra CDM to cover the defense should give you some good stability there to build off on.
Would you go more defensive low? Would you do something like this, or would you give a little bit more freedom?
I think with that potential freedom on low, he will stay quite central around that midfield. So maybe put that to medium. So he will drop a bit more defensively with that attacking tendency on defense.
Yep.
And I think for the rest of it, there's not much more you can do to really pull him back.
Yeah. Um, One of the things that I've noticed is teams that run a really high freedom cam sometimes will pull a center back out of position, and if you have a striker make runs in
Yeah.
late, it'll vacate a hole where the center back is um, tracking somebody else, and you'll see goals come in that way. It's been less so this season. Seasons past, particularly, has been such a headache trying to figure out how to balance and neutralize that. I think I've done better this season, or the engine has been more forgiving this season on center backs roaming and getting out of position. Um, in terms of the attack, trying to get the ball forward, trying to create goals, was there anything that stood out to you that you uh, wanted to look at? Do you want to go back and look at anything else?
What is that cam looking like stat wise?
Mine or
Yeah,
his?
yours.
Okay, so I'll do both here. So he dribbles pretty well from a cam perspective. He dribbles pretty well. The passing is low-ish. Shooting is kind of mid for a cam.
Yeah.
So I typically like to have him just get forward. He has pretty good pace for this level for lower spark. Typically try and have him get forward, dribble, and just create chances by running around, being a nuisance and dribbling around. Um, running around just being a nuisance with no real objectives feels like me in chat sometimes. So it probably fits a little bit, but that's been kind of my plan. And I think one of the weapons, one of the things that's really helped this team along for me is I packed a striker with 79 pace and 80
Oh,
shooting.
he's very nice.
Yeah. Yep. The physical and the dribbling stats bring him his overall rating down a lot, but those two stats of shooting and pace feel like it really creates some havoc in
Just
Spark.
one touch and shoot. No need to get into a duel, and just get him the ball in the right position, and he will finish it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it feels like kind of that classic number 9, right? Just hang out, get the
Yeah.
ball in your foot, and put it in the net. Um, and I've actually used him with a little bit more freedom. This is something that when I was doing Goal Rush, I had him on low freedom and was having kind of mixed results. And then I think accidentally put him on high freedom, and he did really well. And I was like, well, try it again. And it did well again, tried it again. And I noticed I was having a lot more success. And I was like, he can't dribble, he can't pass. What is he doing with more freedom? Um,
No,
but
but I think
it
it's
ended up
what you
working.
said, just to pull some of those players out of their own position and create spaces for other players, and it just seems to work well. In
Yeah,
my May team, I have my backup striker. He's also playing as my backup cam. But when I play him as cam, he plays a lot better actually because he keeps switching position with my actual striker. So it seems like the defenders don't know what to do anymore and who to cover, and it's really going very well tactic wise on that, because I think he has a way better goal ratio than my actual main striker does.
yeah. I was chatting with Bob Orangefly, was asking for some suggestions around midfield play. Um, and he sent me something, and I argued with him and was like, that doesn't make sense. I'm like, those two things are counterintuitive. And he said, it's a game. If it works, it doesn't have to be intuitive. And I was like a little annoyed, but also like a little bit agreeing, and have tried the suggestion that he made. I won't share his secrets. I'll let him do that. But it's been effective. And I'm kind of like pulling my hair out. And maybe I'm just not smart enough to realize why it works or when it works in certain ways. But um, the suggestion sounds counterintuitive, and it has been effective. So I think that's one of the values in testing. I know I've brought that up as a question with some other people in the past, Are you a tester yourself? Do you run a lot of friendlies, or do you just kind of set a logical setup and then go?
I have tried to run lots of friendlies, but in the end, I don't think I go deep into the match reports enough to actually get some valuable information out of it. So I then at the start of the season, I run the same tactic anyway and go from there. So
Yeah,
I just learn and adapt all the way through the season and see where I end up.
yeah, that makes sense. It's a debated topic, and I think it's challenging. Before we started recording, was one of the things that we said was like, I think a lot of people, I may be included, get crazy with tactics and do all these sliders and all these high low. We may just be making life harder on ourselves.
Yeah.
We don't really know. We don't have the baseline to see how the baseline would do. But we were chatting about it because you said your Spark team is pretty neutral and everything and doing pretty well. Um, but it's fun, if you're not messing with the sliders, are you really playing the game? Um, and then running friendlies is kind of its own thing. I know everyone has a different opinion, and I think it's fun to chat about regardless of what anyone's opinion is. Um, Anything else that you wanted to look at? Team instructions was something. Did anything stand out? Were you thinking, hey, run more narrow defensively, run higher depth? Was there anything
Well,
that jumped out to?
in your match you've played this season, which have you seen many changes between the narrow formation and the wider formation?
Um, for me, in terms of the two different formations, I have. So when I run I run them both pretty wide, but I have seen a lot of the attack coming from the left mid, right mid, being out wide and then shuffling the ball forward um, into a striker zone. And I feel like in the more narrow formation, I've seen a lot more attack coming from 1-2s played from the cams. Um, that said, I think the wider formation that I run with Raleigh which is my ice team, um, has a wide mid with really high passing. I think that's where a lot of my memories are coming from, not
Mm.
necessarily this team. Um, but, it's a good question. And I wonder if I look at goals and assists, because I've played quite a balanced amount of games in both. And just looking at the attributes and kind of seeing like where or performance rather, where they're coming from. Yeah. I mean, so if I'm looking at goals, overwhelmingly coming from strikers, 18, 16, 15 coming from the three strikers that I
Yeah,
rotate.
but looking at
And
it,
then,
right mid, left mid, both on 12 assists there.
yeah. Yeah. And then, like I said, I think, yeah, I feel like a lot of times when I'm getting the goals with the wider formation, it's coming from the wider mids and then coming in. And then the more narrow formation, I have felt like I'm getting them from him, from the cam getting up to a striker and then playing 1-2s, whether it's him scoring off the return or getting to a striker, playing to another striker. Um, I I was mentally trying to figure out which strike pairing I want to run for that cup game. I have two strikers. So the guy that I showed, Roos, it's Dutch. Am I saying that correctly?
Yeah, Roos.
Okay,
It's,
close
it's
enough.
close enough, yeah.
um,
But your other Dutch strikers think more of a challenge to pronounce.
yeah. Um, Wait, him?
Yeah.
How would you say it?
Now you first.
So I mean, now I know I'm wrong. I've always thought that this was Schenk.
This is Schenk.
Yeah, I'm not. Um,
with a Dutch G in there.
gosh, that's interesting. Um, there have been a couple of names, like real Dutch players, that you hear, like the English Premier League announcers and
Yeah.
pundits and stuff, say their names, and then you'll hear them play for the national team, and you're like, that's not the same name. It's always funny to me how there seems to be like it's English. Well, it's a name, but there's kind of like an English pronunciation, and then it feels like there's a a Dutch pronunciation, and I feel like um, it's been almost accepted like you're only going to get so close, like you
Exactly.
can't
Yeah.
get all the way there. Um, but one of the first ones that kind of came to my mind was ETH when he came to Man United. Um, and I think they asked him to say his name, and he said it, and then the reporter said it the kind of like English way, like I guess the wrong way, and he just kind of shrugged, like, I don't know why you asked
Yeah.
me if you were just going to be.
Just
But
go with it, and it's the best they can do anyway. So
yeah, close enough. Feels like a toddler. You're like, not so bad. Um, but so he's a little lower rating, but his contribution
yeah, it's
is
crazy.
so much higher than the other ones.
31 goals and assists in 18 games. That's very nice.
Versus 0 assists from the other striker, and they have played the same amount of games. Um, and if I look at the stats, like I don't want to say his name now, I'm embarrassed. His passing and dribbling are higher than his shooting. They're quite high for this level of striker. His shooting is actually quite low for his overall rating. And then the other guy is kind of a more traditional number 9. It really makes me think that the pairing that I should run should be the two Dutch strikers. I was thinking about this earlier because I'm going to end up resting the two strikers that I'm going to play in the cup game. I'll rest them tomorrow so they're as close to 100% as possible. Um, and I was trying to figure out, like, who do I play? Who do I play and who do I rest? And I have not looked at this before now, and I feel like this is a glaring answer to run the pairing that's generating the most contributions, which is kind of a normal answer, right?
Yeah.
Like, run the ones that are getting the most contributions, but I don't think this gets looked at that often. We typically look at like the face stats rather than kind of the individuals, which is interesting. So yeah, that's one takeaway that I'll be running with.
Yeah, and I
If the other
think
guys listening,
it can sometimes give a skewed result as well because
sure,
your backup striker you would run in the easier games where you rotate, so he will get more goals in that way. But by the looks of it,
yep,
you've rotated pretty much throughout the season, and they all have similar match time in there as well. So I think here it is a very good indicator to see who to use.
that's a good call out. Um, the bias, right? Like, are they facing the same level of competition? Um, and to your point, I haven't done that with this team because I haven't had enough players to rotate strong week. Like,
Yeah,
I'm on a 3 striker rotation for 2 positions, so it's literally striker 1 gets a day off, striker 2 gets a day off, striker 3 gets a day off. Um, if I have a really big matchup, I'll manipulate that a little bit and go lower, but for the most part, they're getting what they get. And if it were like a tiny bit of a difference, maybe there's an argument there. But 15 assists for 0 feels like it's a more
clear as
telling
day.
story. Yeah, for sure. But is there anything else that you want to look at or stands out or worth calling out?
I think just the two strikers, their stats really work nicely together. One strong big guy who can hold up the play a bit, and the other guy who can always be in the right positions to finish it. It
Yeah,
sounds like it should work very well together.
yeah, yep. There's still so much that go into it, and so many individual moments, and much like real life, there's a famous Mike Tyson quote that everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. It feels that way in MFL a bit sometimes too, more so with the match tactics.
Yeah,
But there have been so many games that it feels like where we do the cup home and away games in here. I've had home games or away games where I feel like I get a quick goal and then it's just all positive all the way through. And then I've had times where the other team gets a goal and then it's a dogfight. And I'm like, I literally played the same team with the same setup, a week ago and crushed them. And I have the same setup. They look like they're basically running the
yeah.
same setup. It feels so different. So
That's
I
the
don't
variance
necessarily
we
think,
all love.
yeah, exactly. Um, and I've talked with Kev a bit about it, kind of moaning to him. I'll try and prepare for a similar setup and run like 6 or 7 friendlies back to back to back to back to just try and see if I'm on the right path and have wildly different results. And I'm like, Kev, I have no idea if I'm doing the right thing or not because it's win lose,
Yeah.
and sometimes they're big range of outcomes. But anyways, so cool. I'll take over that a little bit more. I think that's really helpful. Hopefully, it spurs some questions for people that may be struggling themselves with tactics. Maybe something to look into. But
And let's hope your
anything else?
opponent doesn't change up their tactics based on this now.
Yeah, that's always the risk. And I saw the name Paney, and I think he's in a couple of the discords, so it's okay. Fun experiment, and I did it. I have 2 teams in cup finals. I've been lucky this year, and I was intentional. I did it with the one that I less MFL on the line. I'll say it that way. So yeah, if he counters me perfectly, kudos to him. Well played. He deserves it. But I thought it was a fun experiment to go through either way.
Certainly, yeah.
Any other ideas or closing thoughts from you? Anything you want to chat about?
No, just the very best of luck in your cup finals, I would say.
Thank you. Thank you. Good luck to you as you close out the season, and good luck to you in bronze next year as you go into season 10.
Yeah.
It'll be a fun challenge
Still
to have.
got 2 games to go to secure that, but I have good faith to hopefully be in bronze next season.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. We'll talk soon.
Thank you very much.